Hey, Cipha Sounds, where does one start to talk with Marley Marl? Where in God's green earth do you start with Marley Marl?
I mean, I don't know the beginning. I know a lot about Marley Marl. I don't know the beginning.
Well, let's go around Eric B. as president time.
No, that's
not the beginning.
I know.
What's before that?
What's the beginning?
What
The
did your
beginning was Dimples D. I actually made an answer record.
No, before that.
Before that?
No,
Yeah.
I couldn't. That was it. That
No,
was me.
you had. What did you like? Where did you even get the idea that you wanted to make beats? Or
being Mr. Magic's DJ, being since Mr. Magic was one of the first hip hop DJs.
who told you how to DJ?
My brother. I was to watch
What's
the
your
High
brother's name?
Fidelity crew. His name was Larry Ladd. His name is in the bridge. Larry Lather.
He's not last.
That's my
That's
brother.
Larry Ladd?
That's your brother.
brother.
See?
Yeah.
You see?
That's what you do.
see?
Sipe
See?
on
Close
Earth's
it out.
gems. There you go.
Larry Ladd is Marley Marl's brother.
Third
Wow.
least not
The
last.
family
least
that
not last.
is not good with making up names.
Larry Ladd, Marley Marl.
They're
Well, he
amazing
was
with
named-
beats, terrible with names.
Let me tell you, but we named him Larry Ladd after I became Marley Marl.
Oh, it was? Okay.
He was just DJ Larry then, but we had to spice it up a little. So we said Larry Ladd.
Siph, well, just do a quick recap, Siph. His original name was just DJ Larry. they said the most we could add to it is another Lair.
Right.
All
Now,
right.
what was my name? My original name was. Oh, you ready for this?
Yes.
Marvelous Marlin, the magical mixer of disco sounds.
Oh my God. You guys and names. What is wrong with you?
At the time, no.
But that took 3 minutes to say.
marvelous.
So,
It was
so,
an intro. It was an intro.
so Larry, your brother Larry's older than you?
Yes, 10 years older than me.
And 10 years older. Wow, so he was already really going in when you were coming up.
They was doing the break beats. A lot of the break beats, like Nobody Beats the Biz break beats, and some of the break beats that I started going back using his records because that's what they used to use.
The beats at that point was about getting the people to dance.
Right.
Were your
about
parents
getting-
super into music, or was it just a you guys thing?
Well, it was so funny because my parents was into like soul music. Then my cousins came from. They was actually kids of someone that was in a service, so they had more. They had access to more music, so they came with the pop, the WABC. See, we strictly WWRL in my house. My cousins came from England, put us on the WABC, and that's when it all opened up.
But what's your background?
My background?
Yeah.
For what?
Racially, ethnically.
Racially, I'm a black American, but my grandmother is she's Native American. They stole her land, but she's Native American. My pops was just the down south guy.
And your family was in England? Oh, you said because it was in the service.
Yeah.
So, did your brother? Where were you living at this point, by the way?
It's Queensbridge, strictly Queensbridge.
Always
That's all I know.
Queensbridge.
Always. Let me tell you something. My mom's had my apartment before I got there. Years later, I was able to make enough money and move her out and buy her a nice house down south. But she was in Queensbridge like 40 years.
Did anyone ring off from Queensbridge before you?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of things going on in Queensbridge before me. There was a lot of bands like Daryl Payne. He made a lot of the Cinnamon records, Thanks to You, Beat the Street. So there was a lot of guys, the Daryl Paynes, the Andre Booths. They made a lot of New York City Peach Boys was from Queensbridge. Bernard Fowler, Don't Make Me Wait. That guy was from Havoc's building actually. So there was a lot going on before rap.
How popping off was Larry Lair?
Larry Ladd, they was just the local DJs in the neighborhood. They didn't have radio to catapult their careers, such as I.
So how did you get to Mr. Magic?
Well, Mr. Magic, he heard me DJing with Mr. Bobley, Dr. Bobley. I was an intern at WBLS on the van, and one day Mr. Magic heard me do a mix. It's like, wow, my record don't do that. I was like, because it's not a Marley Marl remix. Who's Marley Marl? Me.
So you started interning at BLS?
Yes.
While in high school or college?
High school.
While in high school, you started interning.
Yeah.
And so he instantly was impressed with the way that you mixed a record.
Yeah, he heard my Buffalo Gals remix. And he said, wow, my record doesn't do that. Why does yours do that and mine don't? And I was like, because I mixed it.
What'd you do to Buffalo Gals?
I split it up, extended some parts, looped some things in it, and it was just a little different from the original, and he heard it.
How did you do it? On tape?
Yeah, I was splicing tapes back then. I was like a splicer.
Christ.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I was a splicer.
And what were you using? You were using the studio at BLS?
No, I was actually using some makeshift stuff that my brother left after he went to the service because my stepfather convinced him not to be a DJ and go to the service.
So he left you some equipment.
He left me some equipment, some records, he left me a life. basically.
Turntables?
There was like some corny Pioneer turntables, no pitch control, but I learned how to use it.
Did you get 1200s first? Did you get 1710s or something?
We were so poor. I had like BSRs, like opposites. I had like
Not even matching.
turntables. Yeah, there was a rich guy in our building had 1200s. He used to laugh at us all the time.
When did you eventually get the
There was
1200s?
a rich man in Queensbridge Project.
Yeah,
How
he's a
rich was
guy.
he? What was he doing? And why was
He
he
was
living in
Project
Queens?
Rich.
You know, he's probably because we would have the pull string motorbikes. He'd have the gear shifts, so he always had one step over us.
But
He
still in the
wanted to use
project.
all that
Everything.
money and moved out.
Yeah, he was spending on bikes. How long did it take for Magic to bring you under his wing?
The first time he heard one of my mixes. He asked me to come on his show the next weekend, and I was like, okay, I mean, I'll do it. And I'll let him play the record, let him play the remix, and then he was going to grab for another record after the mix. I was like, dude, that don't mix with that. What are you doing? It's gonna be a plane crash. He said, what do you mean? Tell me what you're talking about. So I went and picked out a record, mixed it smooth. He's like, wow. See, you got to think about it. I wasn't into hip hop first. I was into break beats. I was into Giorgio Moroder. Giorgio Moroder was my hero. If it wasn't for Giorgio, he produced Down the Summer, I Feel Love, electronica music. I was into electronica way before hip hop. That's how I had the edge over people in hip hop because I was already an electronic producer. I was already sampling. It just wasn't in hip hop.
So what were you making?
We're going to talk about you and sampling, Marley.
Oh yeah.
So what were you sampling? What were you using it for? You were making like club records?
I was using
I want to hear this, sir, 'cause they
electronica
say
stuff.
Marley invented sampling.
I didn't invent sampling. I brought sampling to hip hop.
Okay.
That's what I did. I brought James Brown. I brought the funk to hip hop because you got to think before I started bringing those sounds to hip hop, it was all about drum machines, Davey, DMX, Sucker MCs, boom, pat, pat, pat. It was all about that. But when I came, and it happened because I was Mr. Magic's DJ. I was playing a lot of records I didn't like. Number one,
The stuff he liked?
it was stuff that was out and people was giving us to play, and it was like the early beginnings of rap. It was like,
What year are we talking now?
what was this, like 82-ish, 81-ish?
That early.
Yeah. And it's like the records were bad.
Yeah, like let's be totally honest about it.
Yeah.
My knowledge base and my love of hip hop really starts when you started making records. No, 86, 87. That's when it really started. Pre-85,
Right.
when I hear Flex talk about those records, I don't know nearly as many as I wish I did. But there aren't that many great ones
Right,
from that
right,
early era.
right.
And so you didn't love a lot of stuff.
Oh.
There's
It
a
was-
couple,
it was
but not a
some.
ton.
No.
82,
It was some.
83?
Yeah, it was some, like AJ Scratch was coming up. Let's see, the
was all right.
Curtis Blow stuff was pretty good. If I Ruled the World, Daydreaming.
Sucker
and a lot
MCs
of those
was great.
Sucker MCs, yeah, that was a pinnacle point in my life because I made an answer called Sucker DJs for Sucker MCs. And it wasn't an answer going at them. It was just so I could have something special because I want to be that special DJ. I don't want to play with, still to this day, I don't play what everybody plays. I have to make it different. If you're going to listen to me, it's going to be something different to it. So that was me from the beginning. That's how I got in the game, just starting to do that
What
Sucker
was Sucker
MCs
DJs,
thing.
by the way? You redid the beat?
I redid the beat, and I had a girl as opposed to, as Dimples D was rhyming, talking about Sucker DJs while, running them talking about Sucker MCs.
And you did you replay the drums?
Yeah, we replayed
So
the
same
drums.
kind of drums.
Same
You just
same
added.
pattern. We just added on it. That was one of my experiments, go in the studio, make a little remix, and I didn't even make it to be a record. A lot of my early stuff wasn't even made to be records. The Bridge was never supposed to be a record, and my first record was never supposed to be a record. Roxanne Shantae's Roxanne Revenge wasn't supposed to be a record.
What was it supposed to
something-
be?
It was just something for me to play on the radio to be different from the other DJs,
And then became a song.
and it just blew up.
So, Saif, what do you want to ask him about sampling?
No, I remember hearing a story saying he invented it by accident. Or did you find a sampler by accident? Or
Well, how it came to me for hip hop, it was by accident, kind of, because I was trying to sample a word line in a record, and I caught the snare before the word line. So while the track was playing,
you invented like chopping drums.
there it was. Yeah, it was by accident. I got the snare by mistake, and I started rocking the snare, chopping the drum up with the track that I was playing, and I started like, wow.
Right, instead of just taking a whole drum loop,
Right.
he took the kick and the snare and then played it.
Made my own beat. And after that started happening, I looked at the engineer. He's like, what? We just took the sound from there. I was like, no, we opened the door for any hip hopper to use any kick snare they want for any pattern. Do you know what that means? He's like, yeah, we sampled the thing. I was like, no, you don't get it yet. You're not getting it. I'm out of here. I left the studio and went home and bought like 3 samplers and never went back to work. That was it. And I was an intern at Unique Studio.
What you were trying to get a line?
Yeah.
Like, girls be coming around my way. You were gonna
Yeah, I was trying to
get,
but the snare was there first.
You sampled too early.
Right.
So the snare was there.
Yes.
And you were trying to truncate it out.
Right.
And you like.
And I heard it with the track, and I was hitting it, and I was hitting it with the track, and I was like, wow, this sounds good.
It don't have to be just words.
Right.
Just grab this snare.
Right. Let's take it from the words, because in electronica we was doing. You gotta think. I was an intern at Unique, so I saw AEIOU be made. Ooh. You know, all of the Arthur Baker records. I was like the intern watching all of this stuff happen, and they was sampling, but it wasn't hip hop. It was for dance, and it was going so fast. So when I got the
sample it,
it was like anything. AEIOU, all that sample. So they're doing all the vocals first.
What were they using?
A Fairlight computer, which cost like about $100,000 back then. $100,000 for like about 10 minutes of sampling.
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
What was it supposed to be used for?
For vocals, orchestration, and stuff like that. So we just took it, I just gridded it out. Once I got James Brown up in that BI, it was crazy.
What was the first James Brown record you sampled?
It had to be Funky Drummer Snare. It had to be Funky Drummer Snare. That's when I really got up on it. I think I could have been getting something from there and caught the snare by mistake and started hearing it. And I was like, hold up, that means I could get the kick, the snare, and any pattern that's hot in the street. I can make that drum do that, and nobody was thinking about that.
So you could just take the drum sounds,
right? You just take the kick to the snare
and then recreate other hot drum patterns with those kicks and snares.
100%, yeah. Kind of like Eric B. as president. It's kind of like Funky President, but it's impeach the president kick and snare, but the pattern of Funky President.
Yeah, but how did you? People always say that Eric B. for president is impeach the president kick and snare.
It is.
It doesn't sound like. What did you do to it?
Well, I had some cheap ass samplers before Mama said knock you out. It's like before Mama, so everything was kind of like it was just basement style. Yeah, it was basement style. My cheap samplers.
So the low quality sampler made it sound ill like that.
Yes, it made it into that and made it sound nasty. And it's just pitching it down and just playing around.
So it's impeach the president drums.
Yes.
Funky president pattern.
Yes.
So what was the first thing you got super paid off of?
The first thing I got super paid off of.
No, not super
Let's
paid.
say, like not grand scheme.
In that era.
In that era for super paid, I would say when I did In Control album, when I did my own album.
Got an advance?
I got paid. I was like, ooh, I could do this more. That's why I bought my house upstate. My first House of Hits, was bought off of In Control. Let's make that clear.
From the advance or the residuals?
What residuals? I've never seen any residuals from Cold Chillin'. I didn't see not one statement, one residual check from Cold Chillin' in my life.
Does that mean to this day you haven't been paid for those songs?
Never. Only time I started getting paid is when I got my masters back and good guys like Jay-Z started sampling with Maya, put my kids through college, making...
Great. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
So how much money is that when Jay uses?
Skipping over a lot.
Well, we're gonna get back. We're not gonna leave it.
Right. Well, it's a college fund.
Literally, it's a college.
I could say my daughter
because of
went
the
to college.
Maya record, because of a remix of Best of Me.
Of course. The remix of Best of Me generated more money than the original. Nobody beats. Than the original Make the Music.
Jay, though.
Of course.
What did Jay do? He just rhymed on it.
He just rhymed. Yeah, I know.
Trackmasters.
No, Trackmasters.
Trackmasters paid you.
Well, he rhymed on it too. We're all sharing in the wealth.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, that did really well. That did well for
Jay-Z
me.
did a few too.
Of course.
Jay-Z and Shy did the Marley Marl too.
Of course.
No,
I remixed that. I made that for them.
You did the remix.
Yeah, I made that. Yeah. So
Marl.
That's right. You get the shout at the beginning.
Yeah. So anybody that samples that stuff, now they come clear with me and it's not only the beats, it's words now. Because you got to look at Theraflu record with Kanye.
Perfect. Tell us what says.
Can a young nigga get money anymore? Didn't LL say that on Illegal Search? Mm-hmm. So that meant off of that record, Kanye record, that meant I owned 60% of the song because it was the chorus. So it's like quiet money.
So you get 60%?
Of course, of therapy.
Simply because he said
yes.
You get it?
Yes.
What about LL?
He get money too.
So all together, you guys.
Yeah,
get it.
we
you
own
guys share that.
Yeah, we share that. Yeah,
wow, because it's the chorus.
right.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So it's publishing. Now, I didn't know anything about publishing when I got in the game. I was just doing this to make beats and make people's head bop. That's all I got into this for. I didn't the money thing. I didn't care.
Success.
Right. I just did it for that.
You did a great job with that, and then you also did well some other stuff as well. Yo, Marley, I got to mention a couple random ones you've done that I love. First of all, the LA remixes.
Ooh. Come on, man.
You love the original.
Yeah, I love the original.
You love the original?
I love the original too.
I'm not a fan of the
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, you ain't a fan of One Love from Marley Marl? What?
I know, that's the best part. I love that shout
That's the
out.
beat that Biggie used it better, just so you know.
Yo, you disrespecting Marley
Sorry,
Marl.
Biggie
Dude.
used it better.
No.
Well, Biggie didn't produce it.
I know, but I like
Yo,
that.
okay,
Slow
here's
it
one
down.
Cypher probably won't even
RZA.
remember. Oh, RZA did. That's good company. You may not even remember this, but this was my jam. Fat Joe, Find Out. You remember that?
Yeah, that was hot.
Yo, that song. Oh.
Now, can I tell you a story about that?
Yes, please.
That was Pun's beat first. Joe jacked him. Pun was at my house rhyming on that. Joe heard that. I was like, yo, I got to get that. He's like, yo, Joe.
All right, so here's the question. So let me ask the question. So where's that version?
That's it on my dad's.
He has it.
I might play it. I'm gonna be on.
Go to his crib.
I'm gonna be on Blackfist this week. I might play that.
You gotta go to his crib, man.
No, save that one.
Yeah.
Can you hold that one? Can we go over there and find that one and unearth that? That is nuts.
Him and Armageddon killed that.
You have him and Armageddon on
Him
Find
and
Out.
Armageddon killed that.
Marley, I really think you and I should talk. There's something we could do with some of this music that could be pretty big, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you have some stuff that could be.
He has all the equipment from the Hot 97 back in the day.
Oh yeah, I bought the old room
He got
when they
his
was on
radio
Broadway.
studio in his crib is Hot 97, the old Hot 97.
Yeah, I
It
bought the
looks
room.
insane.
I bought. See how this room is here?
You have this in your house.
I have this.
Yeah.
Just like the same way
Like the
they had
board,
the board right
the
you sitting
older
over
one we
there.
used to have.
The old one from Hot 97. I bought the old room.